All right, well, thank you everyone for joining today's webinar. We're so excited to have you. My name is Lauren Hackford, and I'm one of the marketing managers here on the professional and training services side of the business. And we are really pleased to present our 26-minute series based out of the Business Transformation Center. One of the main objectives of the Business Transformation Center is to showcase many of our vendor partners in outcomes-based solution showcases. So instead of going to market with just one particular vendor, we like to show lots of the different solutions that can be built around one of the vendor objects to build a full solution that meets a business outcome for our partners. So without further ado, I'll pass it over to Mike Mason. He's one of our senior business transformation engineers within the BTC, and he has a great presentation for you today regarding healthier computing. Take it away, Mike.
Thank you, Lauren. All right, as she said, so my name is Mike Mason. I work here in the Business Transformation Center. I've worked at Ingram Micro for well over 20 years, and somehow I've escaped the carpal tunnel and things like that. So we're going to basically, I'll give you an overview today of number one, the Business Transformation Center. So, we've had the Solution Center really since the year 2005, and in the last year, we've evolved that into the Business Transformation Center. So we still have a data center, we still have conference rooms that we manage and show the latest in conferencing. And if you're not familiar, I mean, mostly what we do here is we give demonstrations to end users, right, in hopes that they'll buy the product. Okay, and we do enablement activities for our partners, right, so they can get used to seeing a product, deciding if it's a business they want to build on. So with the Business Transformation Center, what we did is we created three primary areas that are along vertical lines. Okay, so as pictured here, right, education, retail, and healthcare. And we have a large variety of products that Ingram Micro sells and that we can highlight to partners as they come through, and also our internal associates. The takeaway here is that we have BTC at ingrammicro.com is probably the easiest way to engage with us. Of course, you can always contact me, but if a partner wants to visit or virtually see the center or any particular solution within the center, that would be probably the easiest thing to go ahead and remember. All right, so this is actually what we're not going to mostly go over today, right? So I'm not really here to talk about, how to hold your head, and all this is good advice, and I'll leave resources available to everyone who can see some of this advice. But specifically, this isn't what I'm covering, okay? But still, it's all good stuff. And the basic tenet of ergonomics here is that, you just want to keep moving, right? You want to have movement so you're not stuck in the same position or a bad position for a long period of time. So that would mean taking breaks, changing your posture, right? So your best posture is your next posture, okay? But we'll kind of cover some of these things as we go, okay? But the focus isn't on that. The focus is going to be a little bit more on, slides here, products that we offer, okay, that relate to these solutions. So the focus vendors for today are Microsoft, okay, primarily keyboards and mice, products that they would bring to the table. Ergotron, okay, which has a large variety of products. Pretty much that's their whole business, right, is wellness and ergonomic, and they're a sponsor of our center here as well. Probably the sit-stand feature is probably the key product from them. And Kensington actually has both of those things, right? So they have a really wide variety of products that relate to wellness and ergonomics, including the keyboard side, and then also including like the sit-stand side and things like that. So those would be the key vendors that we're kind of talking about today and reviewing what they bring to the table. So why ergonomics? So what I wanted to do here is provide lots of information about why to go ahead and sell ergonomics as an attach, right? Have a group of products that go together that you can add on to a sale. So why ergo? So the baseline is ergonomics prevents problems, right? My wrist hurts, my back hurts, my shoulder hurts, right? Those are called musculoskeletal disorders or repetitive strain injuries, okay, or RSI. So I mostly set that baseline because we'll see either of those terms as we go throughout and some of the statistics that I'll put down. Okay, essentially these injuries cost companies money. In fact, what we'll see is, injuries like that, like a carpal tunnel or my wrist hurts, actually cost the company more money than somebody who got slashed in the leg and just had to go get it patched up in a hospital. Someone who fell, because they're not as easily solved, so they're a little bit more problematic. So they cost companies money. And the other reason for ergo, right, other than the cost, is just simply employee wellness, and we'll cover that. Okay, so if the employee is more comfortable, right, the idea is that they'll be more productive. Okay, so RSI, right, repetitive strain injuries, represents 62% of all compensation claims. Okay, so it's $15 to $20 billion in lost work time and medical claims each year. Okay, now some of my numbers might conflict. Some of them come from different years, because ergonomics is not new, right? So this stuff's been around for since the 90s. Microsoft came out with their ergonomic keyboards. So we're still got lots of numbers to go through. Now from the wellness side, more companies than not either have a wellness program or want to have a wellness program, right? So here at Ingram Micro, we certainly have a lot going on from a wellness perspective. But if you're a partner and you help customers, right, you help along the path of having wellness programs, and some of what I'll show you today are products that can be part of that. Okay, so with ergonomic injuries, I'm going to follow the money here. So $60 billion were spent on healthcare costs for ergonomic-related injuries. Okay, and even though we've had ergonomic keyboards since the 1990s, it's still the #1 cause of a workplace injury. Okay, so all the things that happen in the workplace, the thing that's going to get you, okay, is typically improper use of your computer, where you're getting back problem or shoulder problem or wrist problem based upon that. Okay, and these things just cost companies money. So the upper extremity repetitive strain injury averages 12 lost days and 38,500 workers' compensation costs. Okay, so I'm just throwing these numbers out. I hate to read off the slides here, but these are numbers that are just there, and I could source all of them if someone needs to spec out which ones and which studies they came from. Okay, but these are all just different injuries. Injuries cost money. Mostly it's workers' compensation. Mostly it's lost productivity that total what a company's losing, okay, by not having ergonomics. Okay, so having good ergonomics is good economics, right? So again, just another chart. This one happens to be from Liberty Mutual, an insurance company, for all the different claims and which ones are ergonomic related versus other things that happen inside the workplace. Okay, so a little bit about employee wellness, right? So not only do you want to not have these injuries, right, not have people out of work, not have people injured, okay, employees typically want to be healthier, right, and they want to feel like they're cared about by the company. So providing these services makes for a happier employee, makes for a healthier employee, helps retention rates, helps them invite additional people to the company, right? So 70% of employees are more likely to recommend their company when they have an employee wellness program. Okay, and now these are just some numbers from companies that have implemented good ergonomic programs, okay, and some of the numbers that they saw back, okay? So reduced incident rates, okay, decrease in paying workers' compensation costs, right, just drop in MSDs, and the last thing really is increase in productivity, right? So not only do you recoup sort of lost productivity, right, for people that are out with injuries. By deploying some of these solutions, you actually get somebody who's more productive. Okay. Now, one of the, many people, we have set desks, and you're sitting there, but there's also sort of a changing workplace, right? So people have mobile devices, whether it's an iPad, whether it's a laptop, they're working from home, they're hoteling or hot desking at work. Okay, all these are different ways that a user computes, right? So we have a certain amount of freedom. We could work anywhere, right? I can give this presentation from anywhere, honestly. Okay. Now, what this is showing is companies can care about these employees as well, not just the ones in the workspace. Okay, so when they come into hotel, as we see in this picture on the side here, now what do we see in this particular setup? Okay, we see a laptop stand, right, to raise a second monitor higher, right? So this user is bringing in their laptop, okay, plugging it into a docking station, okay, and then they have a secondary monitor. Okay, so this is wellness, right? So I have the ability to be more productive. I can be more productive with 2 monitors than I can be with 1 monitor. I still have the flexibility of using my laptop. Okay, my laptop is not, I'm not hunched over it on the table. Okay, it's on a stand, so it brings the monitor up to eye level, and it has a nice docking station. So all I need to do, like we have nice docking stations here from Kensington, you just plug in the Thunderbolt connection, you get power, you get monitor power with just 1 connection into your device, okay, and you're good to go. The other thing that's going on here is they're using an external mouse and keyboard, okay, so typically speaking, it is better for you. There's less injuries, okay, if you use an external mouse keyboard combination with your mobile device if you're going to sit down and work, okay, so having a space like that, whether it's a co-working space or a hot desking space, the employee, number 1, would appreciate it. Number 2, they could be certainly more productive and comfortable. All right, so sit stand. So sit stand allows you to be more productive, right? So I'm gonna be more productive in my presentation right now. So I'm gonna stand up here. Okay, so workers who sit stand. Now this particular study was done at Texas A&M University last year, and it was really on call center. Okay, so call center workers were 46% more productive than those who sat all day long. Okay, so they were giving a sit-stand alternative. Maybe they were just standing part of the day, right? They're not necessarily standing all day, right? Just 100% standing isn't the right answer. 100% sitting isn't the right answer, right? You need flexibility. You need to move in your workspace. Okay, so there's lots of products, whether you're converting existing spaces, right? So you can just put desktops at stand. There's full desks, mobile, and then things that fit in certain circumstances, right? So in the classroom, that's actually, I'm on one of those classroom desks right now in our classroom in the Business Transformation Center. But there's similar things like in healthcare where I have a cart and the different, nurses, for instance, can move the cart up and down to their comfort level, depending whether they're sitting or standing doing their job, okay? So sit, stand all by itself, yeah, is a great thing. It's a great option for employees. You can sell these into schools. You can really sell them anywhere, okay? There are just a few more options and really some numbers just on the growth, right? In the last 5 years has kind of been taking off. So a lot of companies see the value in giving their employees this option, okay? Just again, for their comfort, and also we see productivity in return. Now, it's not just about sit-stand, so we're going to cover a bunch of other types of devices that are available that can fit in that ergonomic portfolio, okay? So, this is about attaching and margin here too. So, you can have a nice Microsoft Surface deal and you could sell 100 of those Microsoft Surfaces and, maybe you're making 2% margin selling all those things, okay? But if you add on attach, right, to make those devices healthy, right, so keyboards and stands and things like that, you're getting a higher margin on those types of products. Okay, so you should look for opportunities to attach, and then we have the backside information that says, hey, providing these ergonomics saves you money, right? So that's the bullet point here with ROI. Right? So the ROI of Ergo is for every $1 spent, okay, I save money on workers' compensation. So it's for $1 spent, $5 of savings. Okay, so and again, there's plenty of studies to sort of back up all this ROI from the ergonomic standpoint. Okay, so lots of devices kind of fall under that that sort of attach opportunity. Okay, I already talked a little bit about docking stations. We're going to talk about personal comfort, and I'll talk about some of these other devices as we go through. Take a look at just some of the things Ergotron, Microsoft, Kensington have from this standpoint. Okay, so one of the newer ones you're now thinking about, right, are these monitor stands, right? They're key device, right, that raises the monitor up to eye level, so it helps you out. And then, in that space underneath, making use of that space for additional things. So they can be fans, right, if you're too hot. They can be air purifiers or heaters. It just kind of depends on your environment, which one might make more sense. Kensington actually just came out with one where it's a Qi wireless charging for your phone. So you just kind of drop your phone underneath your monitor, and it charges as you're doing your computing. Okay, so and as you look at this slide, the addressable market is pretty big numbers for these going forward. Okay, so these are definitely things that you can add into attached sales. All right, so a little about the keyboard. So this is the baseline. Outside of sit stand, this is certainly what you might think of as ergonomic. And I just really have this one slide showing this one particular keyboard. We do happen to feature this keyboard, the Microsoft Sculpt Ergonomic Desktop, in our healthcare area in the BTC here. Now, this keyboard isn't for everybody, right? So if you're not a very good typist, right, you hunt and peck while you type, okay, this is probably not the keyboard for you. Okay, but it serves the purpose of having a few things that are important from an ergonomic discussion, right? So you can have a lot of different keyboards, but if you are a nice, good touch typist, right, and you put your hands down on this keyboard, it puts it in the most natural position for you to type with sort of the elevation in the back and the angle on the front that are designed for your fingers to be in the most natural position, okay? It can take a little bit of time for someone to get used to that, but it's still not for everybody. But one of the reasons I show it is some of the important things about it. Because I can just have a nice flat keyboard, okay, but one of the things, if you're not crunching numbers all the time, if you don't need the number pad on the side of a keyboard, it's nice that the number pad could be external. Let's say you only crunch numbers on Fridays or at the end of the month, where you really need that pad. Well, why have it on your keyboard all the time? The problem with it on your keyboard, it makes your keyboard much longer, okay, and it pushes your mouse further away, okay? So, the position of the mouse and the position of your shoulders, right, are supposed to be in close. Okay, so just getting the keyboard without the number pad or with an external number pad in that case allows the mouse to exist closer, okay, so you can use the mouse. And one of the nice things about this ergonomic desktop is the claim of it cannot be improperly configured, right? So as opposed to other keyboards like click keyboards and things like that, right, you might put it in a position where it's at actually optimal health. So this keyboard actually forces your hand to go in the most comfortable position, or else you're not doing it. Okay, so a little bit about mice and ergonomic mice. It's a real easy piece, and I thought this did a nice job of just showing why you'd want an ergonomic mouse. So really the trickiest part of all the ergonomics is your wrist. Okay, it's very sensitive on the flat part of the wrist there. So if you're using a mouse that's not ergonomic, as you see on the right side, I guess, the white part here is where you're touching, and you're touching right over the part where you would get the carpal tunnel. Okay. Whereas with an ergonomic mouse, it just kind of sets your hands just a little bit to the side, and essentially the touch points are over on this side of your of your pinky. Okay, so you're not pressing on the area. So it's real simple. You know, that's one of the easiest things to do is get an ergonomic mouse. Certainly with your laptop, you travel with an extra mouse, so you're not using a track or touch or something in the middle of your keyboard. Okay, so it's nice and comfortable, and keeps your hand in a nice position as you work. All right, so some of the best of the rest here are, you know, just backrest. Now, some of these, you know, there's not so much numbers behind these, okay, but these are just employee comfort pieces, right? So a backrest, this particular one is very comfortable. Ergotron mats, okay, so anytime you're in a, you know, someone who works on their feet all day, okay, even if they're not standing on the pad all day, even if just for a few moments they walk over to that pad, when, I don't know, maybe when they're walking over to the printer, or maybe when they're working on the whiteboard, okay, just the extra give that the pad gives you is a great relief for the feet. So it's nice to have some of these pads in different places where someone might stand for a little bit, maybe at the water cooler, right, to help during the long day. And then the other one is a footrest, okay? So really how you put your feet, you know, putting them up on a footrest really can help somebody's back, and really the footrests have some mobility, so you can keep the blood flowing through your legs throughout the day. Okay, you should still be moving around, right? Sit, stand, those types of things, but a footrest could be a nice add-on piece as well. All right, so I just wanted to cover some of the basic tools that I like from each of the vendors. Okay, so Ergotron actually has a website. They have a couple websites that they sponsor, but computingcomfort.org is an Ergotron site. So I'll just kind of show that real quick. So here we go. It's got some nice things, but one of the nice things it has workspace planners, payback calculators, so different tools to help you assess an environment, right? So if I click on the payback calculator, okay, essentially I can put in things like, you know, work days a year, average amount of compute, right? And then, you know, how much I'm going to spend on ergonomic for that workstation. Okay, so once I kind of look through those things, think about them, I can go ahead and hit calculate payback, and it will go ahead and give me a payback time. Okay, so in this particular scenario, I just left the defaults. You know, 30 days, I get my money back, essentially just by running this calculator. Okay, it also has links to case studies, links to some software. This is like sit-stand software, you know, to remind you to get up and move around. Calorie counters, sitting time calculators, all sorts of nice little tools that you can go ahead and leverage. Okay, let me jump back into the prezo. Okay, the thing we'd like to highlight about Kensington is their Smart Fit technology. Okay, so you know, they took information from the U.S. Army database, right? And basically, the tie is that, you know, your hand size relates to the size of other parts of your body. Okay, so if you measure your hand, okay, you can, for most people, right, guess the size of the other parts of their body. Okay, so they have this hand, you touch it, there's 4 sizes, so basically 4 percentiles, and then you can, based on that, you can adjust the equipment, right? So it helps you get most of the way there, right? So as opposed to having an ergonomist go ahead and fiddle around with the settings, okay, they try to make it easy, you know, for all the different devices, so the backrest, the footrest, okay, the monitor stand, all have these settings to go ahead and adjust it based on the color, which essentially is your hand size, and then all those things put together, you know, help you fit, and then you can adjust from there if you really needed to. Okay, and then from the Microsoft standpoint, they really have some terrific resources, specifically Googling a guide to healthy computing from Microsoft kind of goes over a lot of the settings and you know, do's and don'ts for ergonomics that actually, you know, help do the trick for a healthy workplace. Okay, so the last part here, I'm just going to highlight, you know, in a couple of verticals. Okay, so again, Ergotron has another site called juststand.org. and it's about using sit-stand in a classroom. So if you sell into the education space, using these carts, they have some real nice data as far as, okay, this helps classroom performance, this improves attendance, okay, it's good for the well-being of the students, okay, just by implementing these carts, you can see those results. So you can essentially go up to a principal, show them that data, right, and then sell yourself some carts. Okay. They have lots of different options, right? Best for students, best for educators, and carts. And then, as you see, we got happy students. And the last thing I'll mention here is in the healthcare space. It's a slight deviation from the other things I was saying here, but looking at, oftentimes in the healthcare space, people will just sell regular computer equipment, so just a regular Dell PC and monitor, things of that nature. Okay. Now, there are nearly 2 million nosocomial infections, essentially meaning you're going to the hospital and then you get sick at the hospital, right? Because the hospital has diseases and diseases are spreading. The idea of your computing being safe to be around patients, this could be in a hospital, it could be any healthcare related field where there's sick people, right? So it's a small doctor's office. Okay, you don't want the computer to be the breeding ground, the place that spreads disease, you know, blowing a fan from one person to another. Okay, so medical grade PCs is something that we do offer at Ingram from Onyx. Okay, and Onyx, you know, the key features are fanless designs, antimicrobial services, so that's all kind of built into the actual plastics there, and then essentially IP65 rated, so you can clean it and things don't, it's sealed, things don't hide in the, you know, bacteria doesn't hide in crevices and things like that. Okay, so that is the Onyx solution, but consider medical grade PCs when you're selling into healthcare, okay, as an alternative to just standard PCs, with the idea of, hey, this is going to minimize infections and sickness. Okay. All right, so I think I'm about out of time. It's around 26 minutes. I did close. These are just some resources that you can leverage. Okay, a lot of the different sites that I mentioned as I went through here, if you need to reference them later. Otherwise, thanks for everybody's time.
Thank you so much, Mike, for your presentation today. And remember, everyone, this is really just meant to be a high-level presentation on each of these topics. We really want you to contact us at btc@ingrammicro.com to schedule a deeper dive with Mike or one of the members of the team to learn more about one of these particular technologies or even receive a virtual or on-site demo. So with that being said, if there are any questions, please go ahead and unmute yourself or put them in the chat. We'll stand in line for just a moment if there are any questions to be answered.
Hi, Lauren. This is Cheryl Hands. Are you going to email out this recording to all the attendees so we can reference it for future?
Certainly. Yes, I do have this recorded, and we'll send out the recording to attendees.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour. Thank you, everyone, for joining so much. We really appreciate it, and we hope you have a wonderful and healthy day. Thank you.
Thanks. You too. Bye.